Well, good morning and welcome to Taco Tuesday. Who's going to have tacos today? I'm actually thinking about doing 2 shows today because I have a lot on my mind. When do I not? Look at me starting early. I started a minute and a half early. Can you believe it? You know why? Anybody want to know why? Because I went to pee. And I'm like, well, I better start now. Because if not, I'm going to start the show and have to pee again. That's what happens. Good morning, True Crime Beat. Karma, Libra, what's your weather like? You know, it's going to be 89 degrees Saturday and Sunday. That's going to feel like November for us, Karma. Good morning, Mermaid. GB, love it, love it. GB said, I still can't believe Seth gave $25,000 of the GoFundMe money to pay for that house for T-Fraud's girlfriend. I heard it was $15,000. Marisay, good to see you. Connie, good to see you. Sonia, Allen, my girl. Hey, Saint, do we have some new names in here? I see Janice 5957. Well, my goodness, I see some new names. It is so nice to meet you all. Hey, hang around. We're here every morning at 9 a.m. Central. Sometimes a couple minutes early. Sometimes, I think I've been late a couple of times. How many times have I been late, you guys? Pat Wicks, where have you been? Look at this, Paper Slut. Paper Slut said, a sucker's born every day. Better believe it. And there's a lot of suckers in this case, but what's lost in this case is Sebastian. Don't forget to set it to all messages because we are live and shit right now. We are live and shit. If you missed yesterday's show, then you missed a good one because that's when we started doing the live and shit. Mermaid gave me a great idea. You know, I make low quality merchandise for regular quality prices. Mermaid can tell you about it. She's bought some of my low quality items. So I'm making one now that just says live and shit. You bet. So what is going on today besides being live and shit? Good morning, Cotton Candy 65. A few of you have lost your memberships. Woo! We got to change that. What am I going to do? Look at that. Broken Goth doll. Lesbians live and shit. Mermaid said, I still wear mine. Hold on. True Crime Bee. I got my new bird buddy with me. You didn't call me this weekend. I was talking to my husband, and I said, I don't know if TCB got her bird or not. Send me a picture. Put it in Discord or something. Britt, not a lot. Just back for the live and shit. You got that right. Well, since we're live and shit, let's go ahead and tell everyone Happy Tuesday and glad we're amongst real people and real friends. Sparrow 9612 said, Crime Lines and Lies live and shit would make a good name for a podcast. You know, I have gotten more phrases from Don and Candace Wells than any other case. They never cease to amaze me. Katie and I, we correct people when they say, man, I barely made it. Katie and I, all at once, we go, you mean burly. There's so many Wells-isms. It's a whole new language. I think I'm going to develop a Wells dictionary. Anne Marie said, what up, OJ? OJ's watching the Olympics. He's laying in his daddy's recliner. He's got his snacks in there, and I hope he doesn't piss me off today. Well, I'll tell you who's been pissing people off. Woo! And that is Bullhorn Betty. I can say I've had a couple of issues with her. I really have over the years. I've had a couple. We've butted heads a couple of times. Nothing groundbreaking. She was upset with me when I did an interview with Stacey Wandra. And she kept wanting to come up on panel. And I was just like, no, just let him talk. But she wanted to play like interrogator or something. She sent me an email about how rude my friend Ange is, how rude Aggie is. People weren't letting her talk. I'm like, look, it was a busy day. You know how it goes. And I stand by my friends. I don't know what to tell you. Let's not do this. But there is a huge problem right now. And there's a lot of arguments around the old Al Gore's internet today. And that is, how did 3, I'm just going to say, protective orders get put in place? Good morning, Nani. Good morning, Nani. I've heard a lot of stuff about it's just in case. It's just in case. Well, let's talk about some just in case protective orders that have been denied all over the country. One, and I brought it up on the show yesterday, Rebecca Michelot. She took her daughter Bree down to the courthouse when Christopher Gregor was let out for child endangerment. This is before he was charged with murder. Protective order denied. And that is with credible threats made by him. Now, I don't understand the stalking and everything, because this is her side of the story. This is when she went after Nick Barris, who, by the way, I respect and like a lot. She said, Nick, she did it to stop the gathering of voices at Sumner County. I've never even seen this woman in the flesh. Not have I ever been anywhere around this lady. Man, I got to get some new Dollar Tree specs. I've never emailed, called, or even spoken to Katie. She just broke the law with this stunt. But now doubt you'll be truth in your reporting anymore. It's hard to harass someone you've never even spoke to or laid physical eyes on. I've only been to the area once for recording, which I did driving by. Didn't even get out of the car, so please get your facts straight. I don't know. I wasn't there. It's an insult to injury is what we're looking at, though, because they have time for these restraining orders, but no time to look for Sebastian. So I see everyone's argument. I'm not going to lie. I do. I see it all. I see the whole, she should never approach them. She shouldn't do anything to them. Hell, some people say I shouldn't be doing this show. Too bad, so sad. But you guys have had a lot to say. Let's go through your comments. Paper Slut said, absolutely bizarre that the Bowerfoot clan has all the time in the world to stalk, harass, prank call YouTubers, and do impersonations, intimidate people, and file petitions at the court for protective orders, but can't be troubled to spend even 5 seconds literally to search for a missing child. Woo! Someone needs to look into that family's attorney of theirs who seems to do their bidding. Seems to be some shady crap going on. I agree with Paper Slut. I do. And I agree with Cotton Candy, who's back. Look at that. She's a new YouTube member. If you're not a YouTube member, think about it. Please, we have a lot of fun. I agree with Paper Slut. I'm not lying. I see both sides of the argument. Rebecca Henry said, good for them getting those restraining orders. Michelle said, I hope Betty countersues them. Janice said maybe they should go look for Sebastian and do something useful with their time. I can't agree. I can't I can't not agree with that. Our girl Brenda said they can do this stupid crap but can't look for a missing child. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. Don't need to look if you know where he's at, right? Woo! You all had a lot to say. And I have an unpopular opinion. I do. Because it's hard to get a protective order. So something more is going on than we know. And you're not going to get Katie Proudfoot to say anything if she's getting this public sympathy because of the crazy stuff going on. I hate when everyone can tell what's going on. We know bad things were happening in that house. And so when people are forced to feel sorry for someone who victimized a child, it really pisses me off. I don't believe he walked out the door. I don't believe he ran away. But I do believe that Katie and the Bower Socks, Stinky Socks, are garnering a lot of sympathy. You've got to be kidding me. Rebecca, my girl, I know my family didn't sleep most nights after Corey was murdered. We were trying to get justice. If he was missing, I'd be on TV, knocking on doors, pleading on the internet. This, my friends, is a real woman. Okay? This on the screen, and she'll come up. She'll explain how to get stuff done. Rebecca and Bree, Corey Michelo's grandma and mom, are the polar opposite of what the Bowerfeet clan is doing. She said, I'd be on TV, knocking on doors, pleading on the internet. But it's crickets from them. Crickets. And I am certainly not sitting here shouting from my office chair that Seth is a saint. Look at the case of Corey Michelo, and you will see a huge difference in how families act. I want to take a second and say thank you to Diane for the super sticker. Girlfriend, what am I going to do with you? What in the world is Rexy doing? Gifting a Crime Lines and Laws membership? Grab an umbrella. Now then, this is not the first rodeo Katie Proudfeet has had, okay? There's no hero in this story. I don't care what TikTok Tony says. There's no hero in this story, my friends. None. Something, when I mention, really upsets people. I have never understood why a 22-year-old man, Seth the Saint, would want to spend any time with a 12-year-old Katie. People will defend this to the hilt and say they didn't do anything till she turned 18. Okay, then why at 24, almost 25, did he tell Katie she would someday be his? I haven't even gotten into Chrissy Poo yet because he's an abusive man. She got a restraining order against Seth in California. These are not good people. No, they're not. They're not. So you can see why I say I see the arguments on each side. I truly do. Again, this is not about Sebastian, but it's going to be talked about. And I'm going to give you a little backstory as to what I think is going on. Shall we?
Now, News 2 at 6.
A missing teen's mother claims she's being stalked and falsely accused by a YouTuber. So now she's taking legal action. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared 5 months ago from his family's home in Hendersonville. The teen's mother...
Not to change the subject, but I want to try to stir this back to Sebastian as much as I can. I don't believe he disappeared from the house. You know why? Because dogs don't lie. Dogs don't lie. Now, on the 8th, unless something has changed overnight, is when their hearing is. There's going to be more to it than just stalked and harassed and talked about online. There's something more going on here, because I don't believe that this judge just threw out 3 protective orders. Ex parte or whatever you want to say. Look at GB reading my mind. He never made it back from Texas Roadhouse, in my opinion. We had a woman in here one day, and she said, with Katie's volatile behavior, I wouldn't be surprised if she just didn't tell him to get out of the car and find your way home. From there, he could have been picked up by somebody. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to fight about the damn weather anymore, because people seem to forget that in the last 5 months, we've had plenty of cold nights. He didn't check into a damn 4 seasons. He hasn't been sitting around on the Riverwalk in San Antonio. And they haven't searched more than like 5 miles out officially. Other people have.
Mother has been granted a temporary order of protection against a Florida YouTuber by the name of Bullhorn Betty. Well, tonight, News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry sat down and spoke with the influencer.
Sebastian Rogers has not been seen since February 25th. Since then, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, along with several other agencies, searched for a little over a week before officials said they were scaling back to focus their efforts on the investigative side. YouTubers and TikTokers nationwide have covered nearly every step. But now, Sebastian's mom, Katie Proudfoot, indicates it's gone too far. In a legal filing for an order of protection, Katie says Andra Griffin, also known by her YouTube name of Bullhorn Betty, accused the family of harming their son while, quote, inciting the public and her followers to aid her in stalking.
Okay, as we go through this, I want your opinion. You've already heard mine. Uh-oh. Karma, that happens. Karma Libra. Dropped my phone. I think I blocked somebody by mistake. Happens. Don't worry about it. What is your opinion of this? And by the way, it can be both ways. Just like I hate the pick a side, pick a side, pick a side. Can they all be shitheads? Can they all be shitheads? Can we agree that they all fall short of what needed to be done for Sebastian? It is insult to injury to some people. They're like, Sebastian is missing, but they're getting protective orders. Sebastian should have had a protective order against them. But sometimes people do cross the line. Look at that O-face. Woo, Betty. Let's get it on. Oh, Betty. Let's get it on. Look at that. Woo, where's Paper Slut? Paper Slut, you're a big fan. Look at that. Paper Slut. Look at that. Woo!
but indicates it's gone too far. In a legal filing for an order of protection, Katie says Andrea Griffin, also known by her YouTube name of Bullhorn Betty, accused the family of harming their son while, quote, inciting the public and her followers to aid her in stalking. Katie calls the YouTuber, quote, dangerous. Andrea tells me she has not received the temporary order of protection, but claims she has not done anything illegal.
If it is from her, then that's absolutely a falsehood. They can go and look at all my lives. My lives never come down off my channel. Driving on a public property, on public road with a camera hanging out, there's nothing unlawful about that. That happened over a month ago. It was when it's the only time I've been in the Hendersonville area. The questions of this case are becoming more and more.
Andrea says her main goal is to provide informational content to the public and to help find Sebastian. She tells me these accusations are just a distraction.
I don't like the drama on the channel, and the more I resist the drama and keep it focused about Sebastian, the more these distractions keep coming up. This is all about Sebastian Rogers, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It's not about Seth Rogers. It's not about Katie Proudfoot. It's not about Christopher Proudfoot. It's about where is Sebastian Rogers and how can we bring him home.
A court-ordered hearing is set for August 8th at the Sumner County Courthouse. Each of Bullhorn Betty's YouTube videos will be summarized for the DA's office. Until that time, a temporary restraining order says Andrea cannot stalk or come within 100 feet of Katie or her home. In Nashville, Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
Okay. That's what she said. She's never been around her. It was a month ago. Now, what happened in that month that made Katie go out and do this? And how did a judge give the order to 3 people? I'm going to agree with Betty. I think it is a distraction. What they don't understand, the Bowers Stinky Socks and the Proud Feets and Seth the Saint, is that every time a shit show comes down, the case will never go away. And that's what a few of them want. I'm not saying that's what Seth wants. And I'm going to get my ass torn up for this, but I'm telling you the truth. Seth likes it. Seth likes the attention. He would love, love, love to have his child back, of course. But he likes the attention. And some of you are getting some very special attention right now, because look at that. Our girl Angel P is making it rain. Okay. Through conversations we have had about this situation, people are saying, how did she get a protective order? Now, if I'm just throwing this out there, okay? I'm just throwing this out there because there have been other cases, and this is not a pro Betty chat. This is not a bash Betty chat. Okay? Don't turn it around. There have been a few other cases. One is Quentin Simon. Another one is Summer Wells. And one is Gabby Petito. Now, the one where a certain chief of police was really, really irritated, that is the case of Quentin Simon. Because as they're trying to investigate the murder of that beautiful little boy, all kinds of hanky-panky was going on, thinking that they were going to get Leilani to come out of the house and confess. Well, that wasn't going to happen. Now, this certain chief, I've never talked to him, by the way. I did send an email one day. We got some money together, and we sent pizza for the department after they arrested Leilani. anyone that speaks to him or someone in his department, they will tell other law enforcement, this is what we went through. This is what we went through. Here's just a little blast from the past. Has nothing to do with Sebastian. It's about Quentin. But this is the circus that was going on. And again, I understand the frustration. I understand wanting justice for Quentin. I understand wanting justice for Sebastian if justice is needed. But as right now, there's no criminal investigation. But justice and investigations sometimes are quick and sometimes slower than molasses.
People hostage. Also new tonight, police and hecklers clash outside Quentin Simon's home.
And the Chatham County Police Chief says that these hecklers outside of Quentin's home have turned the case into, quoting him now, a money-making circus.
That's the chief of police in Chatham County, Georgia. He was having a fit with what was going on outside of Leilani Simon's house. Having a fit. If your focus is Sebastian, okay? Keep your focus Sebastian. If your focus was Quentin, keep your focus Quentin. Don't give the police more shit to do. People are already screaming, defund them, fire them, all this stuff. There was a man in that neighborhood. He was in hospice care, but there was so much going on outside, they had to take him to the hospital to die. His last wish was to die at home with his family. That's a line you don't cross. We cannot do the work of the police. We cannot do the work of the police. I'm going to get the police after Angel P. Look at that. Thank you for the super sticker. She's getting a spanking.
The police chief says that these hecklers outside of Quentin's home have turned the case into, quoting him now, a money-making circus. Our Andy Cole joins us live now from outside the police headquarters. And Andy, you even talked to one of the hecklers tonight and asked him about the chief's comments.
Yeah, good evening, Greg. It's been more than a month since Quentin disappeared. Since the story has gained national attention, but it's also brought in hecklers who police say make it impossible for the neighbors to live in peace. Tonight, a fifth protester arrested, all while the prime suspect remains free.
Quit holding our people hostage, or you let baby murderers run your street.
A heckler is in jail after a clash at the home where Quentin Simon was last seen. Jimmy Williams was charged with simple battery and disorderly conduct. His arrest marks the fifth heckler jailed over the last month. Chatham County Police say since October 12th, they've responded to the neighborhood 50 times. In a statement, Chatham County's police chief says, quote, many of the people claiming to want justice for Quentin have turned his tragic and heartbreaking case into a money-making circus. And they have made it impossible for the people who live in the area to enjoy the peace and tranquility of their homes. This is unacceptable and has to stop.
This is what I do all over the country.
Bullhorn Betty has been outside Quentin's home for weeks. She runs a YouTube channel and live streams her interactions daily. She calls Chief Jeff Hadley's statement lies.
When I see Billy Joe and Leilani, I ask them questions. Where's the baby? What did you do with the baby? Things like that. In a professional.
They already knew what they did with the baby. That's the reason they had people, specialized investigators. They flew in from Arlington, Virginia to go through the dump, waste management. They found a little baby tooth here, a little piece of scalp there. We just can't get in the way of what law enforcement does. We just can't. We don't know what's going on. We don't.
Capacity. Now, is it loud? Yes, because I'm across the street and they're at their gate. But I have not caused this. No other YouTubers have caused this. This is their community doing this, not us.
Chief Hadley said that over the next few days, police will unveil new measures to minimize the disruption to the surrounding neighbors. Bullhorn Betty, however, tells me she isn't going anywhere.
And I absolutely plan to come back to that house tomorrow because I will not be intimidated by some police chief.
What's going to stop you from coming back to that house?
There's nothing he can arrest me every single day that I'm out there. This is not about me. This is about Quentin.
Andy, some fiery words from both sides tonight. So what are the plans from the police to keep the noise down in that neighborhood?
Yeah, Greg, we reached out to police late tonight to learn more about those measures, but they declined to say what those were. Chief Hadley did mention in his statement that right here at police headquarters is a much safer place to protest than the streets of Buckhalter Road. Greg?
Andy Cole reporting live outside of the Chatham County Police Headquarters. Thank you.
I'll give her this. She's got passion. It does confuse me that people are like, go Betty, go Betty, go Betty, but don't touch the Summer Wells case because we believe Dawn and Candace. You know, I don't get it. But what's it going to take for this to be a criminal investigation? What's it going to take? Does the FBI need to be fully involved and not just consult? They're not going to take this case over. I don't care what anyone says. Not going to happen. Sorry. It's just not going to happen. TBI doesn't take any case over in Tennessee because their governmental structure doesn't work that way. So basically you have Sumner County. And I do understand that their sheriff recently passed away. Woo. That was a shocker. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I mean, who's going to make the call to get help and have some fresh eyes onto what happened that night? There are good interrogators in this country. They can crack people like that. Did you hear me snap? Like that. And there's some that hem-haw around and they don't really get the truth. And I think we have some very weak interrogators in several states, and several states have cases that can't be solved. That's the truth. They can be solved, but it takes putting the ego on the shelf and bringing in fresh eyes.
Say they will not rule out foul play, but they will not say that there is a criminal investigation into the Sebastian Rogers case. Why not? Well, I talked to District Attorney Ray Whitley about what it might take to perhaps make an arrest. Sebastian disappeared from his Hendersonville home more than 6 weeks ago. Since then, professionals and volunteers searching for the 15-year-old have found nothing. No trace.
Have you found evidence of Sebastian yourself when you've been out there?
No. So how does a teen with autism walking from a home barefoot in the middle of the night just with a flashlight disappear? Experts say.
Listen to that again. How does a teen, forget autism, how does a teen, 15 years old, you can have the autism if you want, no shoes, and a flashlight, just disappear? They don't. They don't. We spoke yesterday about Summer Wells. Kids do not just disappear. No, no, no.
Say children rarely simply vanish completely on their own. Could others be involved in Sebastian's case?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Though they certainly do have theories. So what would it take to call this now a criminal investigation? General Whitley tells me there has to be something, physical evidence, blood, Sebastian's clothing, a flashlight, or security video, or an eyewitness implicating someone. But at this point, the simple fact is there's nothing. But that's not to say that can't change, and General Whitley says he stays in contact with authorities, ready to prosecute if it does. Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener says his crews are on call 24/7, ready to go when investigators contact them with new leads on potential evidence.
And anytime the sheriff's office indicates or TBI indicates where you've got an area of interest that we need to search, we're ready to go.
You can see the sophisticated mapping system showing the ground they've covered. Sadly, to date, no confirmed sightings and no indication whatsoever of what happened to Sebastian.
No scent, no confirmed sightings. So where is he? You can't tell me law enforcement's not looking for him. There's something way more going on here. And you're exactly right, flip-flops. No scent. Look at this map.
Hitting someone. But at this point, the simple fact is there's nothing. But that's not to say that can't change, and General Whitley says he stays in contact with authorities, ready to prosecute if it does. Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener says his crews are on call 24/7, ready to go when investigators contact them with new leads on potential evidence.
And anytime the sheriff's office indicates or TBI indicates where you've got an area of interest that we need to search, we're ready to go.
You can see the sophisticated mapping system showing the ground they've covered. Sadly, to date, no confirmed sightings and no indication whatsoever of what happened to Sebastian. Authorities still assume that Sebastian is alive and that he will be found safe. If that's not the case, then his body must be found. Without it or any other physical evidence, we may never know what happened to the teen. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
So what could have happened? What could have happened? You all have a lot to say. I'm going to put the link in. Robin, you want to grab the link? Look at that. Got a secret. Can you keep it? Said he didn't walk out that door, in my opinion. Nope. No. Too many people in that neighborhood with cameras. That first day, they did say a dog tracked him to that little pond. It's on body cam. And my understanding is they've searched that pond. He frequented, I can't talk, that pond quite often. Quite often. Now, I don't know the difference between picking up a fresh scent or because he had been there so many times. I don't know, but I'm not giving up on this. And there's a lot of arguments about it. There's a lot of people in the neighborhood that have said but that's not a trash truck. But they make it clear. Robin goes, girl, you scared me to death. I thought you were talking about me. Go ahead, grab the link, girlfriend. Grab the link. These are two lights. This is not a trash truck.
The surprising development in the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, who's been missing for 18 days. An exclusive look at new video evidence. Thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Rory Johnson.
And I'm Hunter Hoagland. A lot to get to here tonight. Authorities have scrutinized home security video from that Henderson.
This Hunter Hoagland guy, he's got a great suit, and I love his tan. Y'all look at that tan. My goodness.
Hendersonville neighborhood, trying to learn what happened to that teen with autism.
Now you can take a look for yourself. Our Nick Barris obtained video that appears to show two people near Sebastian's home the night his parents say he disappeared.
The video you're about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night, pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light, believed to be people with flashlights, in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home. It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight sometime overnight. Since his disappearance, authorities have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues.
We have had several clips that have come in.
And this one is getting the most attention.
Okay, you talk to people from around the neighborhood, okay? Even though people will say, oh, no one talked to you, no one talked to you, those neighbors aren't talking, no one's talking to you, no one's talking to you. Shut up. The trash picks up once, and it's not at that time of night. Okay? Trash trucks don't drive through the yard. Okay? They drive on the road. They drive on the road. They don't go off-roading into people's backyards. This is 2 flashlights. This is not trash truck headlights. Go look at your trash truck when it comes through. Even if it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, mine has flashing lights all over it. It's lit up like a damn Christmas tree. The recycling truck too. This is 2 people with flashlights or cell phone flashlights.
Light believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home. It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight sometime overnight. Since his disappearance, authorities have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues.
We have had several clips that have come in.
And this one is getting the most attention, showing signs of activity around Sebastian's home the night he disappeared. You see 2 light sources, which we've circled to help you follow. For point of reference, the security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area. In the video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes. Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area, and that is it. I know there's not much to see here. You certainly cannot identify anyone, but those close to the investigation tell me the mere fact that there is now evidence that someone is in the area around Sebastian's home is significant. This video shows suspicious activity in the immediate area the night Sebastian disappeared. Could one of these subjects have been Sebastian? Did he meet and leave with someone? Sebastian's father says his son would not go with a stranger.
It's up in the air for me because I don't.
But we do know he did communicate with people online. We do know that now. We do know that his father gave out his phone number to girls, which I find very odd, so he could talk to them. This Uncle Taco was communicating with him online. Could you imagine letting your kid communicate with someone named Uncle Taco? That almost turns me off for Taco Tuesday. I'm going to look at this video again because there really is more here than what the police are telling us. And they don't have to tell us.
We have had several clips that have come in.
And this one is getting the most attention, showing signs of activity around Sebastian's home the night he disappeared. You see 2 light sources, which we've circled to help you follow. For point of reference, the security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area. In the video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes. Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen.
Again, Nick narrates it perfectly. And look, these two lights might have nothing to do with Sebastian, but we do know law enforcement said they're not going to discount this video. This is obviously people. This is obviously people. Now, it has been widely reported Seth was at work. Seth is not cleared. It has been widely reported Chrissy Poo was at work. Chrissy Poo is not cleared. Katie was home. My question for Katie Poo, since she liked to have her little tat-to-tays while Chrissy Poo was out of town, I wonder how the Bowersocks feel about that. Did she have a boyfriend over? Because a 3-hour phone call makes no sense, especially as the times change. Time doesn't change. Chrissy Poo tells her to put the dogs up. Why? The dogs always sleep with her when Chrissy Poo's not home. Did she have a boyfriend over? Medicated Sebastian? I don't know. But this video, who law enforcement says they will not discount, but they're not going to verify it, tells me all I need to know. Remember, in these cases, no evidence is evidence.
Green. It's a short time later, and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area, and that is it.
I know there's not much to see here. You certainly cannot identify anyone, but those close to the investigation tell me the mere fact that there is now evidence that someone is in the area around Sebastian's home is significant.
This video shows suspicious activity in the immediate area the night Sebastian disappeared. Could one of these subjects have been Sebastian? Did he meet and leave with someone? Sebastian's father says his son would not go with a stranger.
It's up in the air for me because I don't.
Then why did you give strangers his phone number? Seth? Seth the Saint? Why were you giving young girls his phone number? Why were you approaching young girls? I wasn't there. Seth said it. I don't hang out with Seth. I guess I'm not that privileged. What do you all think about the whole you have to pick a side? Whose side are you on? Team Proud Feets or Seth the Saint? Very unpopular opinion I have. And my opinion is simple. They all failed Sebastian. Every damn one of them fell way short of taking care of Sebastian. What kind of damn shirt does Seth have on? Damn.
I don't think he would get into a vehicle with somebody unless he knew them.
So what exactly are we seeing here? I know investigators are doing what they can to try enhancing the video for any more clues.
For now, this video is now part of the Sebastian Rogers missing person file, and I'm told it could become more significant depending on where the ongoing investigation leads. We'll be following that. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Woo! There you go. Feel that love. I'm on Sebastian's side only. And that's really how it should be. That's the reason it's very hard to cover this case, because so many people are just like, oh, Seth's the best, Seth's the best, Seth's the best. Oh my God, Seth's the best. Look at him. He's such a good father. He's driving around smoking cigarettes and looking for his son and honking the horn. Then you have people saying, look at what Katie's been through. She was groomed by Seth since she was 12. Then you have the people talking about Chris Proudfeet, saying he's an alpha male. He's not abusive. He's just an alpha male. Well, I'm married to an alpha male too, but I can tell you something right now. He's never taken a belt to a child in front of me, nor he wouldn't. But Katie does have some severe mood swings and some other things going on.
Daughter behavior has been questionable from the beginning. Since the day her son went missing, there's been red flags. Possibly before that as well. It seems that Katie had to make a decision between her husband, Chris Proudfoot, and her son, because Chris didn't want Sebastian in the house, especially if he was to get custody of his daughter Faith. So, it was decided that Sebastian would go stay permanently with his father, Seth Rogers. Chris also mentioned that his marriage to Katie was on the rocks, and he could no longer deal with Sebastian's issues. We don't know what life was really like at the Proudfoot home. Was there a lot of tension or arguments?
I think there was a lot of tension. I think there was a lot of arguments. I think there was a lot of name calling. I think there was a lot of focus on picking on Sebastian. Because remember, Chris is a big, fat bully. You see, if you put a beard on Chrissy Poo, he looked like Seth. I mean, they have the same body frame and everything. I mean, they really do. And I know there's a ton of Team Seth people, a ton of Team Chris, a ton of Team Katie, and all of that. Let's just be Team Sebastian and just come to an agreement that they all failed him. Hippie Grandma became a new YouTube member. That's what I'm talking about.
Did Sebastian feel like he was unwanted? It's very sad to think about. Anyway, I was listening to Sweetie Pie Lowe's video, and Donna Serafina was discussing a conversation she had with Seth Rogers. Before we get into that chat, I want to make mention that Seth said in his own words previously that Katie had drinking issues, and she struggled to care for Sebastian and his special needs, so she decided to work while he stayed.
Does anyone know what Katie drinks? She a whiskey girl? She a box wine girl? She a bourbon girl? She like the spritzers? Because from very, very, very early on, it's been discussed about her extramarital affairs, could be false, and her love of the bottle. I can't confirm it. I've never been around her. I mean, I wanted to. I did. Made it really clear to both camps that CrimeCon was going on in Nashville. We had a woman that was there, and she said, "Do you want to hand out some of these?" They were Sebastian flyers. Of course I will. But I was having one of my moods. Anyone ever been in a mood and say something that you don't totally mean? I said, his parents are 12 minutes down the road. Why aren't they here? Why aren't they standing right outside of that hotel handing out flyers? They have more advocacy in that hotel than they can get anywhere online. Why aren't they doing it?
And she struggled to care for Sebastian and his special needs, so she decided to work while he stayed at home and cared for their son. According to Donna, Seth elaborated on those drinking issues, and what he had to say is so disturbing. Apparently, Katie had severe mood swings, and while Seth was sleeping, she would attack him. Katie was not diagnosed as being bipolar, but her sister was. So, if it's in the family, then Katie could possibly be bipolar too. It's said that while Katie and Chris were married, she struggled to deal with the complexities of having an autistic child. Donna says according to the stepfather, I believe she is referring to Katie's stepfather.
The complexities of having an autistic child. He was diagnosed in August. He went missing at the end of February when all this stuff was blowing up with Chrissy Poo's daughter, Faith.
complexities of having an autistic child. Donna says according to the stepfather, I believe she is referring to Katie's stepfather. Katie would drink so much that she would urinate in the bedroom. She would be violent when drunk.
Hang on. Katie gets so drunk she pisses herself? Now, what the hell is going on here? Katie drinks so much she pisses herself. Damn, Chris. You're not exactly running a tight ship around there, are you?
Deal with the complexities of having an autistic child. Donna says according to the stepfather, I believe she is referring to Katie's stepfather. Katie would drink so much that she would urinate in the bedroom. She would be violent.
But they put Sebastian out in the garage because Chrissy Poo didn't want to smell his piss anymore. But she can piss in the bed? She can bring, her puppies in the bed? By the way, I'm not fretting that because my cat sleeps with me. But he didn't piss in the bed. So you have a mattress in the garage because Chrissy Poo did the whole house smell like piss? Did the whole house smell like piss? That's what I want to know. But you put Sebastian out in the garage. And you put him in adult diapers. Sounds to me like Sebastian didn't have the pissing problem. Sounds to me like his mama does.
Island when drunk. All this information is from Seth's point of view though. Whether Katie still drinks and acts this way, or it was when she was younger, we don't know. Still very concerning information coming out.
Oh, it's all concerning. It's all concerning. Lisa, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for showing love to this channel. Boy, we need it. We need it. Thank you so much. Anybody that wants to donate to the channel, please feel free. Recording hours eat us up. Now let's get to Chrissy Poo. I adore Peter Hyatt. And I love how he breaks down Chrissy Poo. He's not an alpha male. He is Mr. Bigwig. I'm going to tell you how the cow ate the cabbage. His theory, his professional theory, by the way, makes the most sense to me than anything I've heard. Yeah, we go back and forth. Did he make it home? Did he make it home or not from Texas Roadhouse? But his professional theory is this is punishment that went wrong. Do you all remember the case in New York, police officer that decided to punish his son, autistic as well, and he froze to death in the garage? There is nothing, and I mean nothing wrong with punishing your child. Nothing. You show them accountability when they're 6, then that way you don't have to take care of them when they're 36. But you don't put mattresses in the damn garage. And Chrissy Poo is a big part of this problem.
Welcome to this broadcast. Please let me know if you can hear me and see the screen.
No, we can hear you.
At least in the language. With respect to others' opinions on that, I could be wrong on it, but I'll explain why a little bit, why that is. So there was nothing for about a week, no calling out, nothing. And then we saw this video where, to me, I'm not a body language expert, but it looked like a hostage video to me. Blink twice to tell me you're okay or you need rescue, where he dominated and he was in control of the information. After that, it is as if they have gone on a tour. And what it really is an apologetic tour, apology meaning defense of the stepfather. Now, I'm going to comment on some of the interviews. I can't separate which one is which. There's been too many. So they got the memo. People were upset they weren't speaking out. Now they're speaking out all the time, and the content is so important. The content is this: Chris is a great guy, and people should mind their own business. And a common theme for him is, you better respect me. In all that I've heard, other than at times an interviewer directly asking, I've not heard Chris speak of what his stepson is going through while missing. Chris perceives himself as a victim, and he's ready to fight.
Okay, I can't agree with this more. Chris perceives himself as a victim. They do not, and I say they collectively, they do not think about what Sebastian went through. They don't think about what he's going through right now. Everyone is a victim in this case, except for Sebastian. Sebastian had everything. Sebastian had a $650,000 house. Sebastian has a father that just loves him more than anything. Xbox, PlayStation 5, you name it. Sebastian had everything. Well, then why did he supposedly walk away from having everything? That's the question. What would make you walk away from everything? What would it be?
I know that some of the interviews are very difficult to watch or listen to because the interviewers just talk and talk and talk, and they don't understand. They don't hold the information. He does. And now that he's allowing her to speak, she does. Let them speak. Let them speak for themselves. When someone asks a compound question, it allows the person being interviewed to pick and choose what he would like to answer. When they ask a multi-compound question or go on in a moralistic sense, right? There's no reason to moralize in a case like this. A child is missing. We want the information. But when they ask a multi-compound question, very likely the subject of the interview, if he is showing deceit, which Chris is now, he's going to pick up on one of those things and use it for an answer.
Remember, he's the expert, not me. Chris is showing deceit. What do you think Chris is showing deceit about? The abuse he heaped on Sebastian? Covering for Katie? What is it? Has anyone figured out, with the exception of Harmy Montgomery, the correlation with children that just have the best day before they go missing? I mean, the best day. I can give you so many examples of children that go missing, murdered, that had either the best day or a highly unusual day. Summer Wells is missing. Gannon Stout had a highly unusual day. Went to the Garden of the Gods the day before. Madeline Soto had a huge birthday party, tons of presents. Then we get to little Sebastian. Colossal popcorn. It's actually a colossal cookie if you look at the sign at BJ's. It's crystal clear to me.
because they're suggesting answers. So it's frustrating. They don't know, that they don't have training in that. And they'll go on about some personal experience and they think they're building rapport. Not with him. I said recently to someone, I've interviewed him 100 times. I haven't interviewed him. What I mean by that is I've hundreds of times interviewed controlled abusers. And almost always they're a step parent or a boyfriend. And his language gives us a lot. So this morning I was listening to yet another interview, and the usual frustration of some of it is tainted by the interviewer. Fast forward past the interviewer's monologue, it can be difficult to get any type of a pure answer. Maybe there's red marks there, or I've addressed them. And my follow-up question to the pediatrician would be, have you met the stepfather? What was your impression? Because he leaves quite an impression. So the Child Protective Services, Department of Children and Family, whatever it's called in different states, should have been involved immediately, and Seth's mother should have been interviewed right from the start, both law enforcement and in Child Protective Services.
Woo! I got my ass handed to me when I said this. I got my ass handed to me when I said Seth the Saint, his mama, should be interviewed. Not just by CPS, but by investigators. True investigators. Not Bullhorn Betty investigators, or Brooks investigators, or paper slut investigators. Real investigators. Because when she said that her grandson divulged abuse, but she kept his secret, I said to myself, that's a crime. That's a crime there, Golden Girl. That's a crime. Not only are you a nurse, you're a grandmama. Who in here as a grandmother? If you're not a grandmother, no point in answering. Why would you keep a secret like that? Because I know my girl Susan in here, if one of her grandchildren told her they were being abused, she'd be wringing some damn necks. I know my girl Gaelic would go insane. I know my girl Angel P, I sort of say Ange, she'd be one confronting grandma. She'd be like, to hell with you. Think about the case. Argelio Pupo and Morgan Keene. Little girl tells her grandma that they were teaching her where babies come from. Her stepfather, Argelio, while her mother was in the bed, were teaching her how to make babies. The next day, her mom took her to Target, bought her a toy, and got a sewing kit to repair the damage. Guess what grandma did? She turned her own daughter in. She turned her own daughter in. She took a video of her granddaughter telling her. She went and got her younger daughter, who listened to the story again on video, same exact story, called the police. Life in prison in Florida for the both of them.
Most of my viewers know that I'm very slow to criticize law enforcement. oftentimes there's things behind the scenes that we don't know of and that sort of thing. This should have been done. This should have been done. The history is so important. I had said recently, there's no way this guy doesn't have Child Protective Services history. No way. And then I learned this morning from listening to that interview that apparently he set up, or he insisted upon, he does have TPS history. And what he said was, in 2 states, almost as if he's bragging about it, what he's doing is he's getting out in front of it. He'll answer the accusation before it hits him. And as people who are experienced with being investigated for child abuse understand, the Child Protective Services can't speak publicly about it. So the parent or step-parent investigated can say anything they want, and they do. And the caseworker, the department that handles this, they can't speak to it anyway. So there's nothing they can say. It's all one-sided. They can give information with police, though, and should. So what does the...
I mean, we love our kids, do we not? We love our children. No way, no how do you keep a secret like that? It doesn't work.
And both are responsible. And I think there's much more in terms of domestic violence and Child Protective Services involvement than his minimizing statement about it. Much more. This is an angry man. He's not afraid to show his anger. He'll call himself brash over and over and over.
This is important to note. Chrissy Poo, and again, we don't know what happened to Sebastian, but Chrissy Poo loves that bravado. Okay? He loves it. I'm just an asshole. That's what he says. I'm just an asshole. I'm just a little bit brash. I'm just brash. No, you're a child abuser. You're a woman abuser. That's what you are. You don't brag about being an asshole. Nicole, I think it's because all 3 were abusive to Sebastian. And I think more. Again, grandpa's in here. Think about little Sebastian's feelings when the Bauer Stinky Socks took grandchildren to Disney, but left Sebastian back because they said he's a handful. You think he didn't realize that he was left out of a family vacation? Think he didn't understand? Of course he did. You know why? Because he isn't theirs, technically. He was picked on left and right.
The one thing I found that was quite scripted was the mother is really good at repeating. And he said, I love you, Mama. And I think some people don't understand why I flagged that, why it's so important. It's generally a sign that someone has a need to persuade what a wonderful relationship we have. It's not that you or I say, I love you to your children, or your children say it to you. That's expected. It's the need to make that public and make it public repeatedly. So I can say, and he said, I love you, Mama, and then totally forget about supposedly searching the house and getting in the car and driving around. Because the priority is self-defense. I think they caused his disappearance because of an abusive household that he was raised in.
Boom. I think they caused his disappearance because of an abusive household he was raised in. Let's talk about this, please. Seth the Welsh, thank you for the super sticker. He said, love your comments. You guys are on it. This is the best chat, best community, and best friends you're going to find on Al Gore's internet. Great point from Yvette. They didn't care about Sebastian. If they cared one iota, they wouldn't have gone to Alaska the day after he went missing. He had to disappear because of the abusive household he was living in. Peter Hyatt knows, and he sees things I don't see.
He's the language of a classic abuser. And the targets are generally women and children. So let me see if they have any questions and rebuttals, please. Because I don't know what happened and I don't know if he's alive. Like anyone else, you lose hope. Oh, about the stepfather's language. He doesn't offer any hope. He was fed that a couple times by a couple interviewers, but he doesn't offer any help. It's natural that after all this time that he would be the first to crack. Based on his language, he did not have a good relationship with Sebastian. Based on his language. So he'd be the first one of denial, whereas you'll hear the father who will come probably second, and the mother is still speaking as if he's alive. And again, with respect to those.
Now, this actually, in my opinion, is very important. Okay. Peter Hyatt saying, speaking of him as if he's alive. Now, listen, I can give you many examples. I'm going to name two right now. Summer Wells, her parents, both of them, both Don the Con and Kent Wells, have always used Summer in the past tense. Gannon Stout, when Letitia, who is horrible, God, I can't even tell you all the stuff she did. When she was talking to the news, everything with Gannon was. Diane, thank you for the super sticker. In my opinion, Katie drove him out of the house and got rid of him. I would not disagree with that theory. I'm confused about the flashlights. I'm confused about the no scent. I'm confused about him supposedly taking out the trash. And I'm confused about the ride back from Texas Roadhouse because they went a funky way. They didn't drive straight home and they didn't make any stops. But I agree.
Those who have the opinion that there was more direct involvement, but I think that he was put out. I think it was discipline at this point. And, more information comes out. If they get some clean interviews, it may look differently. But if I am with Child Protective, if I am with the law enforcement, I'm looking at an abusive household that Sebastian wanted to get away from. Some of your theories or questions, let's see if I can take them here. Again, a lot of the questions are going to be, I don't know. Where did they take him to teach him a lesson? I don't know. I don't think they took him anywhere. I think that long phone call may have been, hey, he didn't come back. He didn't come back. Well, just wait. He's got to learn. He's got to learn. This guy thinks he's a tough guy, meaning the stepfather. My concern is that he fell into water and he hasn't been recovered yet. That's my fear. My hope is that he met off with someone to run away and they're hiding him. That becomes weaker and weaker because the person that did that.
And that's a big theory. That's a big theory. It's a big theory that he met someone online, he disappeared, that there would be some digital footprint by now. There would be some sighting of Sebastian. I do not doubt the investigators that they have scoped out the water, scoped out the ponds, lakes, all that stuff. I don't think that he just decided to go swimming sometime between midnight and 6 a.m., according to Katie. I don't think this thud she talks about is relevant. I just don't. I just think that she keeps adding a little more sprinkle to the ice cream when it suits her needs. I think she's not a good mom. She's not a good mom. I don't think Seth, besides being obsessed with Katie, I don't think he's this great dad that people keep talking about. And I think a lot of Seth's problems are this guy, Tony Mathis. He says, you don't ever see me post on this page. First off, I'd like to thank all of you for your unwavering support of Seth in his relentless search for Sebastian. No one's supporting Seth. Well, I can't say that. A lot of people have supported Seth. He's gotten a lot. We're here to support Sebastian. Secondly, if you have anything negative to say about Bullhorn Betty, knowing full well that she is the most supportive creator we have worked with, save us the time and show yourself to the door. To everyone else, we love and appreciate you. I can pick this apart all day. I can pick it apart all day. You're only supporting Seth and Bullhorn Betty. And hey, have at it. Have at it. You're not even talking about Sebastian. Show yourself to the door. Okay, Dick Doc. I've got cucumbers bigger than that back in my garden, and they're half dead. Showing your peen, you nasty thing. Then Seth, totally disrespectful to Brittany and Josh, acts like he's slapping the baloney, thinking it's funny. And they're like, he was just packing his cigarettes. No shit. But we know what he was trying to act like he was doing.
That is putting themselves in legal risk. They could have gone directly to police and directly to Child Protective Services, the authorities, and got some form of sanctuary for Sebastian. There's always a rush to blame Child Protective Services. Remember, what they believe and what they can prove sometimes is two different things, very similar with law enforcement. His special needs and his behaviors were significant, and stepfather's telling us that. The repeating of the personal space, mom saying, you don't go into your teenage son's bedroom at night. They're telling you. They're telling you. You know, when you think about a child going missing, how the parents, the innocent parents, how they talk. They're always concerned with what the child is experiencing right at the moment, and they bring it back. And they sometimes talk about themselves when they're asked about it, but then they go back to the child. You cherish every moment. They're what we call high hormonal events, which leave imprinting or etching upon the brain. You don't call a victim a liar. No shoes, no jacket. If that was discipline, it's pretty harsh. Good comment. I think he experienced worse. I think he experienced worse.
Let's talk about that. Peter Hyatt. No shoes, no jacket, just a flashlight. He said, I think he experienced worse. I never want to wrap my mind around what these children go through. Never. But he's pinpointing it. He's flat out saying, I think he experienced worse. Why? We've heard that Chrissy Poo called Sebastian Katie's retard. To be quite honest, Sebastian is a very, very gifted and intellectual boy. Besides being taller than fat ass Chris, no ass, fat belly Chris, what about Sebastian threatened him? What really got under his skin? What could he not deal with? He's a child, for God's sake. He could beat him at chess. He could remember numbers. So what was the big threat that he was so mean to him? And what went down that night?
Yeah. When you're talking about this type of autism with a 15-year-old, so you have puberty now coming in, you have someone who's not regulated as others are. And that's why I say, no, this was not mild. If I was his bio dad, I probably would say it was mild because I can't accept how things are. And I understand how challenging that would be, how difficult, what a heavy childcare burden that must be. And he apparently wanted friends terribly, and that didn't work out. I also wonder if some of the neighbors who wouldn't let their kids go over also said, we don't want to be around that guy, Chris. That wouldn't be surprising at all. You hear of someone with that type of anger. I don't want my child, special needs or not, around someone angry. He accused Sebastian of lying to the Child Protective Services. Yeah, regarding the neighbors, I think he was very isolated, and that could have been up. The description of the autism, I think, is, there's an expectation that loving parents will minimize because it's very hard to accept. He had struggles. I wish for immediate legislation to protect children from predatory and abusive non-biological guardians. Laws don't stop that sort of thing.
He's right. We talk about it all the time. Laws don't stop that sort of thing. They don't. But when you let a little boy into your house, it is your job to make sure old boy doesn't disrespect you or your child. When daddy lets his new side piece squeeze in the sheets, it is daddy's job, like in the case of Gannon Stout, to make sure the new side piece doesn't abuse the children. You don't do it. Laws are amazing. Laws are only good for when people break them. Morality is what is needed. You see, we can have laws up to the sky. We probably do. Hell, there's more laws. Hang on, who's calling me? That's the hospital. I'll call him back. We have so many damn laws. Hell, I can just look at Linda cross-eyed and I'd break one. Laws don't stop criminals. We need morality. We don't abuse children. We don't abuse each other. Why would you make Sebastian call you Mr. Chris?
We have a case here in Maine where, and this actually is a parallel, where a boy was beat to death by mother, father, and grandmother. He was still alive when he was brought to the hospital, and they did CPR on him, and the head charge nurse came out and told the mother and the grandmother, hey, his pulse is back, which the expectation would be wonderful news. They both chimed in to say, but he's a liar.
I don't believe Sebastian's a liar. What the fuzz says, LOL. Oh, y'all do abuse each other, but you make up. Damn right, I abuse the shit out of my husband, and the next thing you know, we're in the garage kissing and hugging. True story. It's a cycle, but I love him and he loves me.
They were concerned about what he would say. They're both charged with murder now, along with the father. But all the laws in the world, we have the same laws that protect you and I as parents and can be exploited by others.
There's not enough laws to protect children. There's really not. It's like children are a throwaway of our society. Not my rules. Not my rules. And this trend we've been seeing for a very long time, there's just not enough good, moral people that put the well-being of a child before their own. Peter Hyatt's right. This is an abusive household. It's an abusive household. Now let's go through the last real update we got from authorities in the disappearance of Sebastian.
There's been an exhaustive search for Sebastian Rogers, but with few updates from authorities in recent weeks, some have wondered, is enough being done?
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. He sat down for an exclusive one-on-one to talk about what they do when there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once.
Listen, this Colin Farrell lookalike, I totally agree with what he's saying. In the absence of information, we'll just keep going over what we've gone over. We've already done once, we're just keep going over it. What is the absence of information? Same thing we talked about yesterday with Summer Wells. They're not getting the information because they weren't given the correct information the day he disappeared. Listen. Thank you, Ange. She said, listen carefully to what he is not saying. Girl, how'd you read my mind? This guy does look just like Colin Farrell. If he had an Irish accent, I would say they were the same person.
When there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
To that end, Craddock says searchers recently found a pair of glasses, which they are checking to see if they belong to Sebastian.
I think those freaking glasses were planted. I think there's too many people fucking around in that area that are wasting law enforcement's time. And no, I'm not talking about Terry Lynn because I think she is amazing. She is badass. But there's been too many people around there that are doing nothing but laying around like a turd in a punch bowl.
He says the parents continue to fully cooperate.
Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
I asked.
We have not cleared anyone, but they cannot rule out foul play.
About exclusive home security video obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources, which we've circled here, in an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said
No evidentiary value?
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
Bullshit. Like I was telling Katie the other day, I speak Baptist. I don't speak cop. No evidentiary value. That doesn't mean there's no evidence. That doesn't mean there's no evidence. Value. Because the investigation is ongoing. They know for damn sure that this video is important. They know it. And they know trash trucks don't go off-roading. They know trash trucks aren't ATVs. I'd shit a brick if I found a trash truck in my backyard. I'd be calling DT driver and I'd be like, the trash man's drunk. What's he doing in the backyard? How's the trash truck doing in the backyard? Listen to what he says again.
the video last month, authorities have said
No evidentiary value?
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case.
How difficult has it been, all the noise on social media?
Oh, the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts and evidence.
There's no stern.
And every law enforcement agency, I don't care if it's Foyle, Oklahoma, needs to get used to it. Because ever since good old Al Gore invented the internet, people have a voice. We share information. We share information. People will call in tips that they found on Facebook. People will call in tips that they saw on Twitter, X. They will say, I saw this on Reddit. They will. But if mainstream media gave a shit about kids, they wouldn't really have this problem. Remember the old O.J. Simpson days? Hell, we knew the case before they went to trial because they told us every day what they found. We found a glove. Found a dog licking up blood in Brentwood. Casey Anthony, they're releasing phone calls like crazy. The trunk smelled like a dead body's been in the car. Mainstream media doesn't care. You know what they care about? Menendez brothers. Shit, we knew everything about that case before it even went to trial.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts and evidence.
There's no stone left unturned.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Well, I hope there's no stone left unturned. I really hope there's not. But I really do hope they kick it up a notch in many cases, not just Sebastian's. We have a lot of cases. We have a lot of trials coming up this year. Delphi, they're saying that Libby and Abby were sacrificed for Odinism. I haven't touched that one in a while because it gives me the creeps thinking about those girls went through. We have good old Sarah Boone going to trial October 7th. You know, she has to defend herself now. That's going to be a shit show. Leilani Simon going to trial October 9th. I think that's probably going to get pushed up to 2025 for the murder of Quentin Simon. Finally, Megan Boswell is going to go to trial in February of 2025 for the murder of her daughter, Evelyn. The Idaho 4. We have a lot of trials coming up. So we can't really complain about those cases because they're on the train heading to Kansas City, if you know what I mean. But a few other cases, Michael Vaughn is one. That prosecutor needs to get off his ass. He needs to go through stacks of evidence that's been put in front of him. Quit dicking around. Summer Wells, Sebastian Rogers, and there's others. If TBI is an assisting agency, well, they're doing a terrible job in some of these cases. I think what we have is an ego problem between the locals and the big boys. But that's all I can make out of it from my vantage point. But I want to say thank you very much to all of you for being here. Look at that. Nonnie McPoppins, you've been a member for 21 months. Cotton Candy, new member. My girl Angie Baby, she said, I love you all. We laugh, cry, and we're here for each other. You're exactly right. Member for 18 months. Diane Milligore, I tell you what, did you fall on the button? You are one super chatting chick today. Angel P's in trouble. She gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships, actually 10. Left a super sticker. Welcome back, hippie grandma. Mama She's back. Seth the Welsh, thank you. Lisa A, thank you. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for being here for the right reasons, being friends, and being the absolute best chat and best community on these filthy, rotten, nasty YouTube streets. I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m.